Hi, Bat fans, and welcome to the Batcave. It's a brand new show here on theStream.tv. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Daniel Pickett. I am with ActionFigureInsider.com and the Legion of Dan's podcast. I am joined here with Tatiana Hollander of the Marvel Report.
Oops.
And that's all right. It's all good. And also with us, we have Alan Kistler, pop culture historian, New York Times bestseller, and also has a podcast, Crazy Sexy Geeks.
Yes.
Just lovely.
Yes, iTunes and SoundCloud.
Excellent, excellent. So, this is a very appropriate time for our first episode because this past weekend was Batman Day.
Yes.
And today is Adam West's birthday.
Aww.
So there's no better time to be a Batman fan. I fully believe that. 76 years of history. That's what we're going to talk about on the show here. We're going to cover, movies, TV, animation, comics, collectibles, fan art, cosplay, just everything that is in the world of Batman. So let's just start by saying, what did we do for Batman Day this weekend? Alan?
I had some fun with a friend rewatching some of the classic 90s animated series,
Nice.
which I still think is just such a staple of Batman history. I think it beautifully sort of merged the Tim Burton stuff that had just shown up in pop culture with that classic, like 70s, early 80s Batman stuff that Denny O'Neil had spearheaded with Neil Adams.
Totally.
And also just went on Instagram and was putting up like favorite Batman moments and ideas and concepts that I really love, whether it's that the Batcave always has, at least in the comics, the giant penny, the robot dinosaur, and the giant Joker playing card is like this reminder that his world is absolutely absurd, so don't take everything too seriously. Or his friendship with Robin and with Superman, how usually he's portrayed as a guy who is putting on this Dark Knight facade, but really he's a guy who cares and doesn't want other people to suffer, and he has a lot of compassion in him.
Yeah.
And
He's just looking for a family.
Yeah.
And I thought they did probably we've just come out of the season of Batman versus Superman. They probably did the best job of sort of pairing up Batman and Superman to sort of start off as nemeses and then realizing their potential in that world's finest animated crossover.
The world's finest animated crossover was fantastic because,
Yes.
It makes sense for them not to get along
Totally.
at first and to clash swords because they view life very differently and they have very different strategies and attitudes of how to take care of things. So, clashing of swords, especially with two guys who are normally in charge, normally trusted to be in charge, totally makes sense, yeah.
Yep.
But then they figure out, let's be adult about this. and they work together. And they don't like it necessarily until the end. But it's like, look, this isn't about us. This is about a bigger thing. And, I love that. Brian Q. Miller in this comic book Smallville Season 11 also had a great first meeting between them, where at first Batman is sort of territorial. And that universe has been, like he brings up, I've been training for this for years and everything. And Clark just kind of tells him, well, I can't help but respect that, but we're both grown-ups. So let's just work together on this. And they do. And it's great to see that. It's always more interesting to me to see characters of different ideas and philosophies interacting rather than just punching each other.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely. And you want to have a more mature and adult resolution.
Well, if they're both in their 30s, yes, for God's sake.
Exactly.
Especially
then, for example, your mother's name being Martha.
Yeah.
It's not
Your mom's name is Martha
not
too?
as great of a resolution.
That's nuts.
Not exactly how you want to.
No, I thought that was a great first team up between that animated series. That animated series just did so well, and it gave us Justice League and Justice League Unlimited later. Fantastic. It's one of the best. And Kevin Conroy plus Paul Dini and Bruce Timm just created this really quintessential version of Batman.
Absolutely. Absolutely. How about you? How did you spend Batman Day?
I went to Long Beach Comic-Con where I obtained this Catwoman shirt.
Nice.
Yes. And I got to see lots of really great Batman cosplays and other Batman characters. But yeah, I was there for the Marvel Report, so again, oops. But I did take pictures of everyone that stopped by in Batman costumes.
Nice.
Excellent.
That's sort of I actually showed this costume to Tim Gunn one time, and he was like, "So Broadway." so
Yes.
I now think of it as the Broadway Catwoman
I love
costume,
that.
where she's
I love
about
that.
to she's about
Yeah.
to do a number on the rooftops.
There should be a Broadway show for Catwoman. I think that she would do great.
I would be fine with that.
I would definitely see that.
Well, I spend Batman Day, much like I spend every Batman Day every year, avenging the death of my parents.
Excellent.
Oh wow! Oh my goodness.
no.
Little heavy for a show, but okay.
No, my folks are fine. I'm just.
Heavy for a bit, but a woman to go
let's not
with you.
wish any ill on,
I'm willing to go
ill on
with you
any
on
parents,
this.
please.
They're fine.
Oh God.
So I went to Long Beach on Sunday, but on
We
Saturday,
missed each other.
I know ships passing in the night. I rewatched some of the last season of Gotham to sort of catch up because the new episode of season 3 was on tonight, and I shot some Batman-related collectible videos for the Action Figure Insider YouTube page, and we actually have a contest running right now that you can see on our YouTube channel where we're giving away one of the Entertainment Earth 20-inch Joker's Wild Batman that were the Comic-Con exclusive. So. That's running till Friday of this week, so head over to Action Figure Insider and you can see all that. So
Yes.
yeah, it was a great Batman Day, and I feel like it's catching on sort of more and more. More comic book shops are having events. Barnes & Noble is doing something for it
Yeah,
each
I
year.
definitely didn't know about it a few years ago. So
Right.
Yeah.
now it's everywhere.
Yeah.
But this internet thing and this World Wide Web whirligig that's catching on, it's spreading the word.
That's right. So the first topic I think we're gonna conquer, because
finally.
there's a lot of Batman stuff to compress into this show. So we're not gonna try and tackle all 76 years. So we're just gonna go back a few weeks and talk about some of the highlight stuff that we know Bat fans are concerned about and talking about. And we'll start with movie stuff, because there's
Yes.
been some interesting and exciting new reveals coming out of that. First of all, with Justice League. That is a movie coming in 2017 for Batman Day. Zack Snyder tweeted out some new images. We got to see our first look at Commissioner Gordon
Right.
Yes.
standing on a
Yeah,
rooftop.
J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons, yes, who we've seen is just buff as can be.
Right. Yeah, he looked really good. It was.
You don't think of your Commissioner Gordon
Yeah.
being that swole.
I also don't think of J.K. Simmons being that.
Well, that's
small.
true, too. But he didn't look
But
like it
good work. Good work.
in the image. He's got the sort of the trench coat and he's
Yeah.
standing by the bat signal.
Yeah.
So, but that was exciting to see. Just that
Oh
sort
no,
of.
it looked good.
It did.
Yeah, and I mean, no one can object to the casting of someone like J.K. Simmons.
Oh, definitely
the
not.
man can do any role.
Yeah.
He can sing.
Yeah.
He can do comedy, or like he's the psychotic guy in Oz.
No,
and then,
Yeah.
the neo-Nazi
the
guy.
neo-Nazi
Oh,
guy in
Lord.
Oz, but then also he's the yellow M&M.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So-
if anyone can elevate what is
Juno's dad.
potentially mediocre material, J.K. Simmons definitely can. So
Yes.
whatever role he has in Justice League, I'm ready to watch it.
So that'll be interesting. Then we also saw the tactical bat suit,
Yes.
which I guess will be a costume. It may not necessarily be the costume he wears the whole time.
And as opposed to all these other bat suits that
Yeah.
are just there for decoration.
Right, like in the
Right.
nightmare bat suit
It's-
and the.
Well, there's his casual bat suit
Yeah.
with the
That's what I was
ascot.
saying. Like what bat
It's
suit?
like evening wear bat suit.
Like what bat suit, starting with Tim Burton on, has not been tactical
Right.
in the movies?
That's true.
It's a little weird of a name to me, along with the night owl inspired design of it.
That was the big feedback on
You
all
know?
of it, that it looked very much sort of night owly Watchmen.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
it's one of the things that Zack Snyder just can't help but put Watchmen love into other movies. I mean, even Batman vs Superman, when Clark is looking over this article about the Bat brand on different criminals, if you freeze frame and read the actual article, the writer of the article asks who watches the Watchmen.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my God,
actually
that's
there.
super cool.
Like it's he can't not
Yeah.
put some
I
Watchmen
mean, I guess
love in
it's
there.
sort of like, actually, I don't even know. I don't even know if that's like his most critically acclaimed one, but I guess it's the one that got him all the other comic book movies, so maybe that's why.
I mean, that and 300 just made
Yeah.
him Warner Brothers comic book guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which-
Yeah, I've heard that the tactical suit, at least in an early draft, and we kind of don't know if Justice League is fish or fowl at this point, because
Right.
it started as one project under Zack Snyder, and then we all learned that Jeff Johns has kind of come in and tweaked stuff to see if we can't get a little more heart and hero into it.
Which I mean,
Definitely.
that Comic-Con footage they showed some of it's really cool, and I certainly have more hope. I'd love to love this new movie.
Yeah.
At the same time, when I was looking at, I was just thinking the dialogue does not match the scenery.
Yeah.
Because this still looks like desaturated, like uber dark, everything.
It definitely still has an uneven feeling too. Like you said, it's mismatched, and then also there's like some parts you're like, oh, that's funny and that's cute and that's fresh, and some parts that you're like.
It felt to me like we already built these sets and decided on this atmosphere, but now let's put banter into it.
Yeah.
Right.
And which you can do sometimes. That can make a really nice contrast, and that can work. But it was just it was very clear to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like the real question is how much of this will be Zack Snyder's vision with tweaks, and how much of it is going to be changed.
Yeah.
And whether you like Zack Snyder's stuff or not, I do immediately get nervous anytime a studio or a new executive comes in and starts changing a movie.
Especially halfway through the movie, then you don't know how well it's going to match.
Even if I like that executive, and I really like Jeff Johns,
Mm-hmm.
I think he has a great vision of the DC universe. But again, the project had already started, and someone else is coming in, and in any circumstance, whether the person who started is good or bad, that can lead to a mess or something that looks patchwork.
I think that's sort of what happened with Suicide Squad, isn't it? I heard that there's the David Ayer cut, and then there was the person who cut the trailer that everyone liked also did a cut. And they just combined them. Yeah.
But we saw that with Batman versus Superman. There was an extended version.
The extended version at least made sense to me from beginning to end.
I still didn't like it, but at least there was a consistency.
I wasn't a fan, but I could see where the plot was going, and it was more coherent to me. But then when I watched it in the theaters, it just felt like someone had done a hack job in editing.
No, absolutely. I remember seeing that and just thinking, because I mean, I went to film school and I've worked on film and in new media, and the first thing I was just thinking was, never mind whether I like the story or not, this is just badly edited.
Exactly. You couldn't tell what was happening from one scene to the next.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt stitched together.
Yeah.
And
So sorry
it felt
that,
like I mean, I know we're veering off a little into Batman, Superman territory, but to me, anyone that asked me how I felt about it, I really felt like I was in the writer's room with Zack Snyder and David Goyer, and them just at a table going, oh, you know what else would be cool? And then they just sort of make a list, and then they found some way to sort of connect those things that they once read and liked and made it that movie.
how can we include pee in this scene?
Oh God. No, it could have been like 3 different movies. That's for sure. That's for sure.
But again, what I was saying with the tactical suit, as I understand it, is it is born out of the idea that now that Batman knows about these other meta-humans, he's seen whatever Lex Luthor's marketing programs footage that he stole
with his
from
photoshopped superhero emblems.
Yes, that the marketing team went ahead.
Why did that happen? I don't understand.
The time to do.
And how did he come up with the ones that like the Wonder Woman, it looks like a W? Why did he decide that she was wonderful? How did he know? Does it mean something else? I don't know. Tell us, Lex Luthor.
But now that he knows they exist, he feels like what he had going on is not enough, so he has to sort of up his armor to be on the level of...
Which is funny to me because these are his allies.
Right.
So he's armoring against his allies because he hasn't met superhuman threats yet. He hasn't seen, other than Doomsday and the Kryptonians, he hasn't...
That's true. He's basing it off of the people that...
Yeah, so he's basing it off of these metahumans. It's interesting. And not that that's necessarily against character, because there have been comics that have explored him taking precautions against what if Flash goes nuts. But it is an interesting thing of where this movie, I presume, was trying to be about, let me not be suspicious like I was with Superman.
Right.
Oh, wait, actually, no, I'm going to armor myself against the dudes I'm recruiting.
Right.
Yeah, it seems...
His baby steps. His baby steps for Batman.
Seems already a contradiction.
Let him
again,
live.
that was
I don't know the context.
Yeah, that was sort of an early version, so I don't know if they keep that or how that's going to work, but that's just what I've heard.
So we also have some casting news for the movie. I literally can't say his name. Joe Manganiello. Sofia Vergara's husband. You're awesome.
But do we know, is he going to be in Justice League? Because I understand that was the reveal
I think he's going to be for the solo Batman.
standalone Batman movie.
Yeah, he's going to be for the solo Batman movie.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited to see him. I really loved Manu Bennett as Deathstroke in Arrow. He was amazing in season 2, and also I'm kind of sad that they used him in Arrow because now we can't see him in the movies. But I think that Joe is a great like spiritual successor to him.
Yeah.
I think he has a great look for it.
I mean, Deathstroke is one of those who's very much in danger of just being a generic character.
Yeah.
Like a lot of stories in comics will just have him be like, I'm the badass who can beat people up, and I take money to kill people. And that's really like Arkham Origins video game. That's all he is. Just I'm just here to kill you for money.
Well, you just made him sound like an interesting character.
But I mean, the way Arrow played him, I was actually really
he had a really
impressed.
specific
I was really
drive,
impressed.
yeah.
And that's been the interesting stuff with his original introduction. Like Marv Wolfman introduced him as someone who wasn't just, I'm going to kill the Teen Titans because I've been paid. It's, my son died on a contract, and so I'm accepting his contract. So that, like there's an honor code, but vengeance, and also like you sort of sympathize with him, but then he has sex with a teenage psychopath girl.
Hopefully that's let's not include that.
Yeah, you got all this. So like he's always been this character who just, it's so easy to portray him as an interesting assassin or just the most generic villain ever.
Right.
So I'm curious to see what Deathstroke is like in this in this film. You know,
Yeah, I mean,
and that's a great casting. Like whatever they do with him, that's great casting.
Agreed. Speaking of great casting, Ryan Potter is an Asian actor who is interested in playing Tim Drake. And he's actually made like a whole video of himself fighting. Yeah, and it was great.
That was badass.
So I don't know if Tim Drake is going to be in the Batman solo film, but he should be. They should write that in now. And they should cast him. Just because I really think DC, well, all comic book movies and TV shows and everything, but DC is lacking a little in diversity on screen.
Yes.
Like we're getting more in the comics, but those characters are not being shown on screen because they're not as we don't know them yet.
Static Shock and Icon aren't in the movies.
So
they easily could be.
We need to start race bending some of the plentiful white characters that we have.
And we didn't even get like John Stewart.
Right, exactly. John Stewart, the great Green Lantern.
An excellent.
Even Kyle. Kyle, like myself, is Irish Latino. That could work.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just bring in some more diversity and also the fact is like nothing changes about Tim Drake's character if you make him an Asian American.
Right.
Absolutely nothing changes about him. So, yeah, rock it out. And I would be, if you actually had Robin in a live-action movie now, that to me would be such a proof of like, yes, we are going towards more idealism, more hope in this universe, and we are no longer embarrassed. Because like part of Man of Steel and part of BVS, there were several times where it felt to me as if you're a little embarrassed by the superhero stuff. You're trying very hard to deny it and make it as grounded and realistic as possible, and ignoring the fact that your main dude still dresses as a bat and adorably puts bat logos and all his stuff.
Adorably. And Brian's criminal.
Yeah,
adorably.
no, it's but whereas if you bring in Robin, there's no escaping that Batman lives in an absurd world.
Right.
And in a world that coexists with, you know, plant terrorists and Mr. Freeze and shape-shifting mud people and time travel and cyborgs and magic users and stuff. And I think you could make Robin really badass in the movies.
And I just also love the idea of found family, and I think it's
found family is a huge thing with superheroes, especially
and
Batman.
You have that in the Justice League, but you want to see that that's something that Batman is already actively seeking in his life.
Yeah.
You know, otherwise Alfred wouldn't be around. Like the fact that Alfred stays around as long as he does just shows how much love Batman inspires in other people, and how much he can sometimes surprisingly give.
Yeah.
But has that sort of lobbied casting ever worked before? I mean,
yes.
I remember, back in the 90s, when I was in college, there was a guy that like lived next door to me in the dorm who thought he was going to campaign to be Nightwing in the next Tim Burton movie.
Well,
and he went out and made a costume. But then there was the woman that was trying to be Catwoman.
Right.
Yeah.
But
There's
the
a specific time that it's worked that I can think of, and that's Gwendolyn Christie. It wasn't even her who was campaigning, but the fans of Game of Thrones had seen like pictures of Gwendolyn Christie or like seen her just like as an extra in other movies, and they were the ones who were like, oh my God, this is perfect Reign of Tarth, and they like made like edits and stuff for her, and her agent saw it and was like, okay, we're gonna put you in for Game of Thrones.
That's also part of the thing is this kid is already established.
Right.
You know, it's not. This isn't a college student who can jump.
Right.
You know, this is Big Hero 6. This is someone who's in the industry, and could bring fan and street cred to the so whether it succeeds or not, you know, I don't know. I wish him well. I think he would be badass.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if not him, you know, just opening the door to other actors, you know, either Asian actors or of other ethnicities to play these roles.
You could even switch over to characters like Duke Thomas.
Yeah. Yes, Duke Thomas, perfect.
Yeah,
or,
who's
by
in
the
the
way,
comics right
if
now.
you put Selena Kyle in the movie, make her Latina, please. She is half Cuban in the comics. There's like several instances of them bringing up their mom is Cuban. Let's make it happen. Thank you.
I'd be down.
Yeah, but I think that's certainly, I know for a fact that is something that DC is very interested in these days.
Yes.
I don't know if Warner Brothers is on board
That's
with
the
that
thing.
or not.
Warner Brothers is
Right.
not DC.
Right.
You know.
That
But we'll
I
see.
feel like is the sticking point.
It's going to
Let's
make
see.
you money, Warner Brothers. Do it.
Yeah,
Believe me.
it does.
I will pay you more money if you do it.
It does. Studies. It's science.
Yeah.
Studies show that.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say I was going to swear off the DC movies because I was upset with Batman vs Superman, etc. But then they cast Kiersey Clemons as Iris West in the Flash movie, and I was like, oh, Iris is still black? Oh, DC gets all my money. So,
Welcome back.
So, exactly. So it didn't
little
last.
things.
So my sabbatical didn't last very long. But
So the next film we're going to talk about is going to be an animated one that is coming out in a few weeks, and that is the recent announcement of the return of the Caped Crusader,
This is
which
just fun.
seems so sort of no-brainer and
Yes.
long overdue.
Yeah.
But now that the rights for the '66 Batman has been cleared up, there's been a lot of merchandise for that, and now we're going to see an animated movie with Adam West, with Burt Ward, and Julie Newmar in it. And just everything I've seen for it so far looks dynamite. Really looking forward to that.
I watched the trailer on Saturday and I was just in love. It's so cute and just like also
fun.
just, yeah, exactly, just fun, like the nostalgia, but also it still feels fresh. Like, you know, you
Yeah.
hear those old jokes, but they're like being repurposed, and it just, you know, I laughed throughout the whole trailer. So
Yeah.
I'm excited.
And there's going to be an opportunity to see the movie in theaters. I believe it's October 10th through Fathom Events. They're going to show the movie actually on the big screen.
And it's going to be all over the U.S.?
The Fathom Events does that.
Okay,
yeah, they
that's
usually
great.
they do a couple in
I'm
every.
down for that.
Yeah,
I'm
so
down
October
for that.
10th, right?
October 10th is for the
Return of the
big
Caped
screen.
Crusader. You should definitely watch it if it's in your area.
Yes. So I'm very excited for that. So let's veer into recent comic book territory.
Yes.
There's been some big to-dos, I would say. Rebirth is going gangbusters.
Yes.
We saw just in the past week or so the announcement that DC has actually taken over majority market share
Yeah.
from Marvel, and that's the first time that's happened in quite a
Oh,
while.
yeah,
so,
wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice. Go DC.
So yeah, I mean, it does seem a bit of a shame that they had to sort of take away what we loved to make and then give it back to us.
Did we really love the New 52?
That's what I'm saying.
No,
They
they
took
took
away-
away
I see, I
pre-Flashpoint,
see.
and then they
and
gave us
then now
the
they give it back as Rebirth, and we
Alright.
go, oh, finally everybody's back. You
Yeah.
know. No,
I mean, I did
Anyone.
think
No, you know
New
what? To be
52
fair, there were people who came in through the New 52. I know there are
Yeah.
new readers
Yeah.
who do feel a little alienated by Rebirth, and I don't know if you guys are, you know, still reading it or not, but they are still keeping elements of the New 52.
Well,
So it
majorly
really
it's still,
isn't-
it's still
yeah.
the New 52 universe. They're
Yeah.
just bringing in a couple elements from
Exactly.
beforehand.
Yeah.
I mean, like Batman is still continuing on the path it was before.
Yes.
It's just now Scott Snyder isn't the only one writing a compassionate Batman.
Yeah.
And,
Batman
and,
hugged two different people in the last 2 weeks
Yeah.
in different comics. In Detective Comics.
And he smiled.
Yes, he smiled and he cried. You know
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
That's all I can ask
He's
that
a
Batman
person.
do every once in a while.
He's a
Yeah.
person. And no, I mean, when New 52 happened, I thought, oh, this is a good idea. But I think the execution lacked some planning. And not everyone was on the same page, and some stuff was being different just to be edgy, but
Right.
Yeah.
really wasn't. And I thought it was, there were a lot of missed opportunities, which goes back to race and gender bending. That, you know, if you're going to start the universe from scratch, then why are all these people still white over
Yeah.
here? Like, you know, you could have had a lot of more experimentation with
Right.
things if you're really going to start it from scratch.
I agree.
And I think Rebirth is really actually righting the ship in a lot of ways.
Yes.
I think
Totally.
I think Rebirth is doing a great job.
All Rebirth
really
needs
across the
now
board.
is to hire some more women
Yeah.
and people of color as writers.
Yeah, you need
and
diversity
artists.
behind
Yes.
the camera, so
Totally.
to speak, because otherwise you're lacking the right storytelling and the
Yeah.
right perspective.
So do you want to talk a little about the event of this? I mean, this is going to be a little bit spoilers if you haven't
yeah.
read
So
it
if
yet.
you haven't read Detective Comics 940
Yes.
or not 939, Tim Drake died.
Has a bad day.
He had a really bad day.
Bad day. It's a bummer. It's a bummer, man.
But you know what?
a bummer.
He handled it like a pro.
Yes.
He was a hero throughout.
Yes. It's a great issue.
Yes, it was really well written, and you could feel like, even though I didn't expect, I'm like, Tim Drake's not gonna die. I don't believe you.
Yeah.
But I still I felt the heartbreak when it happened, you know, and I really just wanted to reach in and hug Stephanie too, with get in there
Yeah.
and hug with Batman.
Sure.
And then the final page reveal. You know, I wasn't expecting it to be revealed at the end of this issue that he's, more spoilers, in like another dimension with mysterious Mr. Oz man. But I thought that it was well done,
Yep.
and it ties back hopefully to Rebirth, right? Who do we think Mr. Oz is?
Yeah, I mean, Rebirth, part of the Rebirth idea is, it seems that Dr. Manhattan stole a few years of history from the DC universe and
Yeah.
created a more cynical, just a more cynical world. And that we've got Mr. Oz here, who's showing up around the same time that these revelations happen and seems to be having his own agenda and knows a bit about time and space. And this is not the only person he's snatched from time and space. And possibly, you know, Lois apparently died, but we know she didn't.
Please let her have gone to another dimension and not be dead.
Oh, she's not actually
I'm
dead.
gonna be
Let's
so-
be real.
voting for
Let's
her
be
dead.
real. She's not
No,
actually
God,
dead.
no, I love Lois.
like,
I'm so mad at Superwoman.
Let's be real.
Okay.
I'm mad at you for
I think it's one of two things with Lois, is
Yeah.
that it's either DC editorial doesn't know right now what to do with two Loises, and
Right.
so they're saying take one off the board and then in 6 issues or 5 issues, whatever, bring her back when we have a better idea of what to do with other Lois. Or that she too is captured by Mr. Oz. So I'm thinking that maybe Mr. Oz is Ozymandias from
Yes.
Watchmen, which I know is not the most original thing. Other people have picked up on this. But like, if he's not, then it's just a fun red herring
Right.
they put in with a similar sounding name. Either way, he seems to be also joining into this conflict against Dr. Manhattan that's eventually going to come down to it.
Yeah.
And I'm curious what that's going to be. If it just becomes a fight for reality, then that would actually be very disappointing to me.
I agree. I mean, I think they sort of already did that with Convergence. My God.
We've done that with Convergence. We've done that with Secret, the Crisis. We've done that with Zero Hour.
So it
We've
should
done
be
it with
something different.
Marvel just did it with Secret Wars.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're going to solve whatever this conflict you're making is, then let it be not just with fighting. Let it be more creative than that.
Yeah.
Because that's always the fun thing when, like, you would see the Justice League fighting these insane creatures. It's like, well, we can't just punch it. So what do we do? Well, if Aquaman, if you summon whales and have them do this, and then Flash, if you run over here and vibrate at the right frequency, and then Green Lantern, if you take that frequency and like make a tuning
Imagine.
fork
Yeah.
and do the, and then like combined with this creative, insane comic book science, we will create the thing that makes this go away.
Yeah.
Like that's what I want to see right
Yeah.
now, because especially the same thing with the superhero movies, not just Warner, but Marvel Studios too, and other studios. There are so many of them that just end with "we're punching until we're done punching," and I want to see that creativity
Yep,
come
absolutely.
back, the comic book science. you
Yeah,
know?
definitely.
Yeah.
Even if it's fake science, at least as long
That's
as it
fine.
exactly, as long as
That's
it makes sense of the
fine.
plot and it shows people using their different skill sets. And I
Yeah.
think everything, even all the different TV shows need to start doing that too. So.
Agreed. We're going to move on quickly to some collectible news.
Okay.
Yes, this
breaking
is where you will
news.
shine.
That's right. I might know a thing or
It's your
two
time to
about that.
shine.
Some of the most recent Batman products in stores are the Mattel DC Multiverse line that is coming out. These are 6-inch figures. Mattel had done a really wide-ranging 6-inch line. Then it went away for a while. They made everything 4-inch. And now they have they've returned, triumphantly returned to 6-inch. So this is actually the first time we've ever got armored Batman from Dark Knight as a figure. We've had the regular non-armored version in several
Which is
versions.
fun.
It is fun, absolutely. And then we've got the Carrie Kelly Robin,
Yeah.
which DC Direct made, I don't know, a dozen years ago or so. But this is the first mass market toy of Carrie Kelly out there.
They should sell Carrie Kelly's Robin as a costume.
Oh, totally.
I don't know why they don't. I know a lot of women who would love to dress
Yeah.
as Carrie Kelly
No,
Robin
definitely.
instead of
Great
like,
idea.
Yeah.
Skirt Robin,
Skirt Robin.
or anything like that.
That's
Like,
actually,
no.
yeah.
And then coming
Goggles.
I think you should tell one of your people that you know about this.
Guys,
It's high times, 30 years too late. And then later in this series, they'll be releasing a Mutant Leader 2.
Ooh.
And then at Comic-Con, they showed a few others down the line that we'll probably get. They're going to expand into Dark Knight 2, Dark Knight 3, and we'll see Wonder Woman and Flash, we know. So that's kind of cool.
I like it.
And then also recently announced we have Biff Bang Pow is going to do a series of their new line that they call Pin Mates, which are little wooden figures that kind of look like the old Fisher-Price little
Those
people.
are so cute.
And they're all the 66 Batman cast. And because they're able to sort of reuse this form factor, they're able to go pretty deep into the lineup. We're getting like Mad Hatter and Egghead.
Love Mad Hatter.
Yeah, it's a great great line of characters, and those are going to be coming out in just a few months. They just solicited them recently. And then one of my favorite things, Mezco Toys. They are knocking out of the park with this new line that they're doing called their 1/12 Collective, which are 6-inch scale figures with cloth costumes. And they just announced the Joker and put out these images of him, and it is a stunning piece. It's very difficult in the action figure world to capture clothing, even on like a 12-inch scale figure. So to shrink that down 6 inches and make it look convincing.
I mean, yeah, and he's like kind of horrifying. Like, I feel like I wouldn't be able to have him in my bedroom. He has to be somewhere else. Or else
Generally,
I'm
the
gonna have
Joker shouldn't be
nightmares.
in your bedroom.
That
That's
is
my
true.
belief. That's my belief.
But he comes with a variety
Old-fashioned.
of heads. He's got 2 heads. He's got a variety of hands and a bunch of different accessories. So they just Mezco just solicited that and put out some dynamite pictures of that you just saw.
Fantastic.
So totally looking forward to that. They've got both a DC and a Marvel line in that scale that are just it's some of the best stuff Mezco's ever done. So do we have time for a little bit of interaction? Are we okay with that? Okay. Because there's a little bit of cosplay that you saw.
Oh, yes. Yes, I definitely saw some great cosplays, which I think we have photos of at Long Beach Comic Con. So there was one in particular that I really loved. There was Batman from the DCEU, right? And I thought that he looked kind of better than he did in the movie, so good job. Let me see if I have any questions. If you guys have any questions, tweet them. Hashtag welcome to the Batcave, by the way, because I can't see right now if you guys are leaving comments on the YouTube page.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't show up for me.
All right. So
rude, but-
just back to cosplay quickly. I put up something on the Welcome to the Batcave Twitter account earlier today. I saw a family that the dad was a Suicide Squad Killer Croc. And there was
Oh.
one girl that was Harley Quinn and one girl that was Katana.
That is so
And they're
cute.
walking
I love
around.
that.
Mom was Elektra, so
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't include her, somewhere else. But
That's so cool. I definitely saw a mother and daughter who did the Riddler and the Joker.
oh, okay.
Yeah, and that was super cute.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a mother and daughter outside the con walking on the street, and they were 2 different versions of Harley Quinn, which I thought was kind of
that's
neat
cool.
too.
Yeah.
So when families do that sort of thing, that's so charming. And Long
Yeah.
Beach Con is one that is small enough. It's not sort of overwhelming. Nice wide aisles, and just a nice family show. That you're not going to worry about losing your kids or getting run over.
That's
that
true.
sort of thing.
I liked it. I liked it because it was just a lot of open space and just kind of like not much of a rush. Like you were saying, like it felt. Oh, that's a really great picture there of gender bent Harley Quinn, and he went by Charlie Quinn and nickname
nice.
fighting. But yeah, those 2 were super awesome, and he also posed with Catwoman that I really loved. So.
I do want to say briefly, well, we didn't mention it during the comics, but yeah, I really think that actually the Batman has the strongest Rebirth comics right now because they're continuing the New 52 continuity, but if you've never read a Batman comic before, any of them works as a jumping on point.
Yeah.
Like Batman with Tom King right now, the storyline that just finished, I Am Gotham. Wonderful storyline, works really well if you're a new reader. Really gets into what is the moral value of being a hero and what you have got to do. Detective Comics with James Tynion doing the writing. Like
Detective Comics is so great
Detective
right now.
Comics, just it's the Bat family book again, and the fact that he turns over leadership to Batwoman and acknowledges, like, look, you're better at certain things than me, so you need to do this. The fact that you're offering Clayface redemption, so Clayface is sort of trying to become a hero now. Fascinating stuff. Tim and Stephanie, Cassandra, Orphan's still a dumb secret name.
I also want her to, I know that she, is silent a lot, but I do want to see more of Orphan, more of Cassandra.
It's a dumb name, Orphan.
Yeah.
Like, it's a dumb name.
She's not
I know,
Orphan,
I know the context of it from Batman and Robin Eternal, and that was a great series.
But right now,
but just like yelling,
make sense.
like Bruce yelling out, like,
Orphan.
hey, kid with no parents.
It could be like any of
most
them.
of us.
Exactly.
Just
it could
get
be
over
any
here,
of them.
report. And All-Star Batman. Scott Snyder's doing a great job with that, and he's really establishing this new take on Two-Face that is both more realistic psychologically, but also the story itself just embraces that absurd, high-octane Batman level of action where you can have Killer Croc and King Shark team up, where you can have Killer Moth and Firefly team up because they're both bugs. Like, it's just, I love when you're just embracing, like, yes, this is comics and it's freaking weird. Let's just go with it. And at the same time, he's really delving into the friendship between Harvey Dent and Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
I think that's wonderful.
I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of that develop.
Yeah.
And also, I love
be good.
the interlude with Duke Thomas.
Yes.
And whenever I can get more of his backstory or more, of his search for his parents.
Yeah, so I just wanted to mention those
That's
books
fine,
'cause they're all rocking out right now.
So we covered a lot of ground today. We'll have more next week. Thank you so much.
And next week we will also be able to see your chat comments, and we'll respond to them, I promise.
Yes. So, but we'll continue the discussion online on the Twitter page, and we'll respond to your comments on YouTube. So
And you can also find us on Facebook, I think. So.
That is true as well. Yes. So we'll post all that.
It's easier to find me on Twitter at Sizzler Kistler or AlanKistler.com.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, thank you guys very much for joining. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you.
Hope you have a good night, and we'll talk more Bat news next week.
Yeah. Sleep well.